going to do it in a way that's just sincere. I have been stressing about stupid amplifiers for probably the entirety of this show. And as much as I love hi-fi and love my old equipment, which I've now taken out of commission, it does actually need to be in place to make the show work. So at the moment I'm running on a bare bones system that is keeping the show running, but at the point of where I would hopefully only have to introduce it if something broke and I was getting something else repaired. So while it's alive and kicking, I don't necessarily want to overstress and blow up my brand new piece of equipment that I've got, as I was hoping to get 3 of them to replace the 3 that are outgoing. And this is, as I want to stress, a massive stress to me. So it's something I concern myself with literally daily, blowing up these new amplifiers, or this new amplifier that I've got, because I need 3. That's how the system has been wired for many, many, many years. And although the old equipment's been blowing up and being repaired over and over again, I want to cease that cycle. That's why I'm doing this GoFundMe. So as much as people might look at Nathan needing new amps, yeah, but I run the show with them, and they are fundamental to what I do, and therefore it's a constant headache and a constant stress that I'm running on the absolute bare bones that this show can run on. And I want to resolve that with your help. So this is why I originally did a GoFundMe and have now gone to the effort of actually changing it to a Give, Send, Go campaign, so that people do actually share it, and people who are sympathetic to the fact that there is no money to be made doing Flat Earth shows, and the only way I actually do ever pay for anything ever is by the support of the people who watch the show. And unfortunately, that does mean occasionally asking for handouts with things that people will look at and go, wow, that's a seriously sophisticated piece of equipment. Actually, it's just an amplifier, but nevertheless, they'll go, well, surely you could just do it with headphones. Well, the answer to that is yes, I just don't want to, and I've got several £1,000s worth of equipment that I've already invested money in that is excellent, top-of-the-line stuff that just doesn't function properly because I can't afford to maintain it. As embarrassing as that may be, I do want to maintain it, so I've got a very high standard of show, regardless of the limitation of the people who are actually watching it. Yes, we don't get tens of millions of people watching the show. Does that mean I don't want it to be of the absolute highest standard? No, it does not. I still want it to be of the absolute highest standard because of the longevity I feel the subject has, and therefore I want all of these shows to be listenable in many years to come. And therefore, that's why I'm appealing to keep my high standard of equipment of a high standard. Not of the tens of thousands of pounds of standard that the outgoing amplifiers were that I originally purchased and have used and abused to keep the show running, but more like hundreds of pounds to get something bare bones that is nowhere near as good, but will hopefully last for several years and stop me from basically stressing about bloody amplifiers working every time I start the show. Will this work? Will it have gone bang? I don't want to do that anymore. I'm just sick of it. So hopefully people will sympathise and go, yeah, okay, I get it. You've got expensive equipment and that does require a certain amount of maintenance. And rather than spending it again and again, hundreds of pounds on maintaining thousands of pounds worth of amplifiers, buy something cheap and cheerful that'll hopefully have a couple of years at least with a warranty, and then you don't have to talk to us about bloody amplifiers ever again, and hopefully I don't have to stress about them ever again. So hence me doing a fairly long appeal to people, because I can see how people would look at it and go, I'm not going to support that. Amplifiers, no. Well, actually, yeah, they are extremely critical to what I do here, as much as that might not seem relevant because I do talk about them a lot. It's something that I'd previously invested when I was rich, being a rep, and bought really, really good stuff. I don't want to buy really, really, really good replacements. I just want to buy the absolute bare minimum, in this case, guitar amps, just to get it to work without stress. So a couple of people have already supported the GoFundMe, which is now redundant. So don't use that, although I don't know how to shut it down. If I get round to it, many other things, I'll actually shut down the GoFundMe site as a campaign site, but it is still live, just redundant, as obviously I'm now using Give, Send, Go, as Chocolate Saying had exceptionally good success with it. So I hope that the people that were reluctant because of using GoFundMe may go, no, I do actually sympathise, and I do also want your show to remain at a high standard. And your lengthy appeals for people to support you where you simply cannot afford to support yourself in this regard, I can get, even though it's a first world problem with high-end equipment, which this is, even though it's hundreds rather than thousands of pounds, which, as I say, the outgoing amps were. Nevertheless, I'm hoping to get to maybe half of this amount so I can buy one more amplifier which will power the 2 speakers that I have, and that will be enough for me to stop e-begging all the time. I'll still leave the Give, Send, Go up and hopefully, get to the rest of the target. But in the meantime, I'm hoping in the short term, hence my lengthy e-begging, get to about half of what my current target is, which is around £900. So if I can, hopefully, by the time these 2 or 3 videos with a lot of e-begging in them go out, I'll have reached that target. I can buy the second amplifier and then just leave it and never mention it. And if people know about it, they'll hear it on an old show and then go back and support it if they want to. And maybe I'll trickle in the money for the third one to replace all of them. But in the meantime, I just want to get to the point where I know that I'm not overstressing the one that I have just bought brand spanking new by buying a second hand one to go alongside it. And then that's sort of at the minimum that I know I can just leave it and not stress ever again about it. So there we go. That's my Give, Send, Go campaign. If you did happen to support it, I would suggest that you don't actually set the tip amount to anything other than 0, unless you particularly want to support Give, Send, Go. Obviously then set it to whatever the hell you like, but I would suggest you set it to other and then stick it at 0 after setting in your amount. And if indeed you don't necessarily want to give me any financial support in regards to this campaign, but you do now empathise, now I've moaned and said how much of a stress bloody amplifiers have been, then just share it, just stick it on your Facebook page, and maybe there'll be some techie out there that sympathises in the same way that I'm stressed and just wants to see the standard of the show remain high. Hopefully that would be the case, and that's why I'm appealing to you all. So that's pretty much it in that regard. I'll say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. I think there might have been a super chat actually. Let's just see if I can read that out. We were around.
Hi, I'm Nathan Oakley, and since making the video you're about to hear, there has actually been a couple of other Give, Send, Go contributors. So big shout out to Ramsey and the one Goldie. So another shout out to you, Goldie. Really appreciate all of your support.
And Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting. So this is my Give, Send, Go campaign for Amps Go Down, Go Boom Boom, as I've just replaced, or am in the process of with this campaign, replacing some old equipment that keeps breaking. So I have actually achieved one of the amplifiers. I'm hoping to get 3, or ideally, in ideal circumstances, I'll get about half of the target that I've got here, so I can get 1 more amp and then not think about it, at least during the show. And then maybe I'll get a 3rd one to offer myself some redundancy, so I'll never have to worry about it ever again. Whereas I've been stressing about this for several years. If you've been watching the show, you'll be well aware of that. But I did have an extra anonymous donor, so thank you very much indeed for your contribution, whoever you may be. I really appreciate it. And again, a massive thank you to Goldie as well for supporting that campaign. Now, if you did want to support the campaign, then click on obviously the give button at the top, and then I would suggest that you go down and just set the tip amount to 0. After you set the amount to whatever it is that you want to contribute, it'll give you an option to contribute to them, which is absolutely fine if you did want to do that. But as I say, I would suggest that you set it to other and then set the amount to 0. But that's just my opinion. Obviously, if you want to give to Give, Send, Go, then that's entirely up to you too. But thank you in advance to all of you who do support this campaign. But with that, I am going to hand over to whoever is in Discord and G+, so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.